Good morning, Metta.
I believe you're still on mute. Metta, okay. We're just trying to get the audio from Metta currently, but Paul, do you have any investment?
Well, these, I believe the English term would be government bonds, right?
Yeah.
I currently don't, but I did remember my time when I used to live in Canada. I actually worked at a bank as well. And although I sold mutual funds...
I never pictured you working in a bank.
No, I did. I had 95. I dressed like this, but more conservative colors. But one of the things that I did invest in was in, what we call depositos or term deposits and government bonds because they're known to be the lower risk and safer ones. How about you?
Well, I do invest in reksadana.
Oh.
So in Indonesia we have reksadana pasar uang, reksadana pasar saham. But why reksadana? Because reksadana is relatively low risk. Probably like lower risk than government bond.
I think we're the same.
Yeah.
I think we have Metta back. Let's talk, check with her again. Hi, Metta. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for joining us, as always. So let's jump right into it. Could you tell us a little bit about retail Sukup SR017 or SR017? What is different from this than the earlier series, such as ORI 21 Savings Bond Retail or SBR 11 or Retail Sukup SRO 16 or 16?
Well, yeah, as you mentioned it, this SR017 is the Sukup, is the bonds that is managed in Sharia compliance. So that's what's the difference between the ORI 11, ORI 21 and the SBR 11.
Right.
Because those are managed in the conventional way. So if it is conventional, so it is like a government bonds. It's a government borrowing monies from us to manage the assets of the government, right? While the compliance, the Sharia compliance bonds is more like, when we invest, we have kind of like a share of contribution of an asset. So it's like we have a partial ownership of that asset, and then the government will pay a rent or like the ujra to us as a, as the return. So that's the big difference between the ORI and the SBR with the Sukup retail. Yeah. So the ORI itself is similar with this Sukup retail, again, but the difference is because it is conventional. But with the SBR, the difference is because with the Sukup retail, it has terms that is about 2 years, while the saving bonds retail is normally longer, like 3 years, and it is fixed because if it is saving bonds retail, it has a floating interest rate, so it follows with the market interest rate. So I think this Sukup retail is more stable one because it has a fixed terms with the 3 years period.
Well, when it comes to investment, it has been a booming issue for the past couple of years because let alone, we just heard yesterday about the savings interest became like 0% now.
Right.
So you can't really put your money only like solely for the savings. Now people are more into investment these days, as we spoke before. But there's so many terms, right? And this Sukup retail SR017 also has an investment term as a deposit. So what is actually the difference between the two? And in your opinion, which one might better serve a country with this kind of uncertain economy?
Right. This Sukup is actually different with the deposit. The deposit, when you deposit the money in the bank and the bank manages, right? While the Sukup or the bonds is issued by the government. So the main difference is because talking from the point of view as an investor,
yes.
If we compare. The Sukup retail now has a higher interest rate than the deposit rate. Now the Sukup retail 17, it has like 5.9% interest per annum, return per annum. While for the deposit, now the interest rate is about only maybe 2.5%.
Oh, that's
2.5%.
Yeah.
Right. So that's and then the second one. As an investor, we want to have, the maximum revenue that we can get, right? And when we invest, there is also we have to pay tax. The tax for the deposit is about 20% of the interest, right? that we get. While for the Sukup, the tax is only 10%. So that's already a big difference. You can get a higher return. Yep. And then the third one, because of the deposit, you have the maturity date, right? Like maybe after a month, that's why you can take the money, you can withdraw, or if you want to withdraw at any time, you can pay, you can do it, but there is a penalty.
Right.
While for the Sukuk retail nowadays, you can buy it from the government, and then at a later date, maybe 3 months from now, it will be available on the secondary market. So whenever you need some liquidity of your money, you can also sell it in the secondary market. So I think right now, if you compare those characters of the SR17 with the deposits from the bank, it is, maybe it's more profitable for us as an investor to invest in this SR17.
Wait, so this seems very flexible, Mbak Metta. Like you talk about the fixed rate, which is great for investors because obviously you have some sort of security in that sense. But you mentioned down the road, if you decide to sell it on the secondary market, you can do so before the due date. Is there a certain amount of time you have to wait before you're allowed to sell it, or how does that work?
Well, the secondary market normally open about maybe 3 months after the issuance date. Like for example, right now in September, so maybe it will be issued later on this month, and I think it will be available in the secondary market for trading in the December, right? But of course, the market itself maybe is thin. I mean, like it's not, it's only between the buyer and the seller of the Sukuk. So maybe it's not going to be a flexible market with the stocks, for example.
I see.
But of course, there's a possibility that you can sell it, or if you want to add more, you can buy more on the secondary market. But of course, in the secondary market, the price would be quite different because then it will be compared with the current interest rate. Like for example, the Sukuk itself has a fixed 5.9 interest rate. But what if the market interest rate is going down? Of course, the Sukuk that you want to buy, the price is getting lower. So for us as an investor, we can choose whether we want to sell it now if we need some liquidity, or we can just stay on the investment until on the maturity date, and we get this full 5.9%, right?
It's even more interesting to invest these days because lots of investment instruments, and also we're actually even better informed when it comes to this. But Metta, what is actually the minimum fund to be able to invest in this SR017?
Well, since it is retail, you can start investing from 1 million rupiahs up to 5 billion.
That's nice. But okay, so we've known enough about the theory and stuff. Can you give us the simulation of SR17 calculation?
Well, it's quite simple, right? I mean, like, for example, if you invest 10 million rupiahs, right? And we have the return rate of 5.9% per year. Okay. So it means per year you will get like you will get like 590,000 rupiahs, and then you have to calculate the tax 10%. So in the net amount, you can get about 530,000 rupiahs, like here in the screen you can see. Okay. But of course, there's an annual rate. So in a month, it will be paid monthly, right? In a month, you will get about maybe 44,000 rupiahs if you invest 10 million rupiahs.
Is it calculated monthly or at the end? How does that work?
Well, if it is a fixed rate, it will be calculated annually, but then the payment will be done monthly.
I see.
Yep.
Nice. Interesting.
Okay, so let's talk about the availability. We know that this SR017 has already been made available since middle of last month. So it is already available now. What is the process for one to make a purchase in order to invest in this?
Well, first for investor, you can find all the information in the website of the Ministry of Finance, right? And there will be a list of the distribution partners, like banks, securities companies, as well as the fintech companies. You can choose where to buy from them. And nowadays, it is online, so you can just open the application or you open the website of the distribution partners. So you can register. You will be given like SID, single investor identity. Yep. And then you can order. You can order how much you want to invest, and you will be given a code, and then you have to make a payment, and then after that you will get the confirmation. And then once it is closed, the market is closed, then the government will process, and then you will get all the certificates, all the information.
Simple enough.
No, I like it every time
Yep.
that after we spoke to Mbak Metta in every show, we started to do our diligence to invest. Remember the last time we were talking about some stocks of GoTo, and then we were like, what do I
That's
get? Any offer on this? But anyway, Mbak Metta, couple of days ago, me and Paul were actually in the morning show as well. We were talking about the crypto robot, and we realized that everything comes fast, also probably will perish fast.
Correct.
And low risk, low profit, high risk and high profit. But in this case, SR017 seems like even more promising than deposit. Can you tell us the risks of this retail SR017?
Well, the Sukuk or the bonds is considered maybe like a low to medium risk. Yeah, of course the deposit is more conservative, it's more lower risk. But for now, if we talk about the SR17, the risk is very minimal, or maybe you can say nothing, almost nothing, because first. There will be no default risk because it is governed. It is 100% guaranteed by the government. It is guaranteed by the law, right? And then when you talk about the market risk itself, because it has a fixed interest rate. Yeah, it's not going to be volatile with the interest rate in the market, right? As I said, if the interest rate lower in the market, of course we can option to keep holding the Sukuk, right? But if it is go higher, we can sell it in the secondary market, right? So the market risk is also very minimal. And as I mentioned, as an investor, we always have to make sure that the money invest that we have is going to be available for us. And we have this, you need the liquidity, right? Again, if suddenly in the middle of the investment period we need the money, we need cash, we can again sell it on the secondary market. So I think it's quite a good one, yeah, because minimum default risk, minimum market risk, and minimum liquidity risk. I think that's what you need as an investor right now in this economic condition.
Yeah, but my question is, how about the liquidity level of SR17?
Well, as I mentioned, it is only for 3 years, right? I mean, like it's not that longer. So I mean, like if you have like a spare money, you can save it for 3 years, right? And of course, before you invest, you have to consider is there anything you need in 3 years? Probably if you need to pay for your kids' education, or is there anything that you need? Because again, you can decide how much you want to invest, and how much you want to take it back, right?
Right.
So again, if you need to liquid the money, again, there's an option of the secondary market.
All right, so I think I'm going to know the answer to this next question, but Mbak Metta, would you green light or red light this retail Sukuk SR017 to those that are interested in it? Is it a go?
Well, yeah, for me, I will consider it as a safe investment right now in this this uncertainty situation right now, yeah, because when all the prices is up, the interest rate is high. We need some kind of assurance like that our money will be safe, right? So, but now, as you mentioned, it is already available since mid of August, 19th of August. It is still available until 14th of September. But the quota is getting limited because, there's a kind of like a supply, the quota from the government. And right now, I think what I heard is about 20% left. So there is time if you still want to invest. But if you miss this one, there will be another Sukuk or obligations, bonds from the government available later in this year. So again, If you still have to accumulate your money, if you still wait for the market condition, this is going to be a very good option for you to invest.
Right, Paul, it's time to make it rain.
Absolutely. Metta, thank you so much for your time and for this more in-depth look into the latest retail Sukup that had just been released. Have yourself a great week.
Thank you for the discussion.
Stay safe and take care,
Always.
Metta.